God.
All over. All over, yeah. It's all over.
Hi there, this is Richard Ratcliffe. I'm the husband of Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe in front of the Iranian embassy on what was day 15 of our hunger strike. I say was because we've just had a telephone call from Nazanin from Evin prison to say she's broken our hunger strike. So because she's broken her hunger strike, that means I will be breaking mine.
Nice news.
Yes, good news.
I think it's so sad and so wrong that you should have been put and your wife been put in this situation.
This past 2 weeks have been difficult for me, physically, but emotionally they've been uplifting. I think one of the lessons I take away is that we are really stronger together.
We'll be in touch.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
We are an ordinary family, an innocent family, and one day soon we'll hopefully be together again.
So you're getting used to making coffee for yourself again now?
Yes, making coffee, making breakfast, having to do the washing up, all the things I've been quietly ignoring before. I was probably less well than I thought I was. So there's been quite a lot of sleeping, quite a lot of just sort of starting to eat again and not doing very much. So this is the living room in our flat where we lived, where we will live again when this is all over. And you can see the sort of various different photos that are up. This actually was made by Nazanin in prison a few months after she was taken out of solitary. Probably the most precious thing in the flat.
Easy, Mama. بخیر مثل ماما بخیر بر ماما بخیر
و شما ممنوع فروش هستید باید موقع تشریف بیارید شعبه بازپرسی اینجا حالا موارد اتهامی که شما
When was the last time you saw Gabriella?
Saw her physically. So when they went to the airport, so when she was 1 3/4. So she still quite likes the idea that this is her bed, the idea that this is her home and this is her room, and she's got her own room, because in Tehran she doesn't have her own room. And she quite liked looking at them. There's these pictures of her in the first year. This one here was her first birthday, and then some of them she's really tiny. I mean, like she must be like 10 days old then, that one.
And did you ever think when she was last slept in this room you'd ever end up being a Skype?
A Skype daddy. No, and I'm not sure I think of myself exactly as a Skype daddy. It's a daddy on sort of temporary hiatus. Oh, what's that? Are you eating watermelon? Does daddy not like watermelon, or do you not like sharing?
Yeah, she said she doesn't like sharing.
Mummy always accuses daddy of not liking sharing. So when it all kicked off, I couldn't really spend a lot of time in the flat. It just felt too empty. I mean, I don't notice the silence in the way I used to. I mean, most people have a house which they tidy up every time they have guests coming around. Mine is normally because the media are coming around. But no, in that sort of normal life's kind of on hold. Love you. Love you. Love you. Bye-bye. You love her.
When you look at what Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe was doing, it's just, she was simply teaching people journalism, as I understand it.
There's a way in which Nazanin's story has become an adjunct to the Boris Johnson story, which has advantages because it means we get coverage that we wouldn't have got otherwise, but huge disadvantages because essentially the sort of fervent Boris supporters will now insist that, of course, Nazanin was doing something, and they're defending their man, and so they're. And I remember this, really strongly at the time of the big gaffe back in the day. It was about Boris. It wasn't about Nazanin. It wasn't about the fact that actually the government is neglecting to protect people. It was about how irresponsible this man is. No, this man, and all that kind of soap opera, Punch and Judy stuff.
But in pointing the finger At our
Words
side,
have consequences. That was Abdullah's phrase.
At our side, well, actually, in that case, it didn't, I think, make any difference. But
for me, the original gaffe was never the issue. It was the way things were conducted subsequently. It is deeply problematic that he won't take responsibility. The scars are mental, and for sure, the longer this goes on, the more there are scars. But she'll threaten suicide, she'll threaten... There's kind of a despair that's overwhelming.
Is there a point where you just say,
we're almost
there's
there.
2 years after the sentence, you're almost there, do you just ride it out for the next 2 years?
So there are families that have tried to do that, and they've had extra years added. I think it is clear in our case always that she's been held as a bargaining chip. I don't think there's a quick, soft option. I think we'd have to wait years and years. And I do think that lets both the governments off the hook. You know, that they are, between them, having a fight using an innocent person to do it. I'm not going to go gently into the good night while that happens.